Imagine bringing home a wolf pup. Soft fur, wide curious eyes, a tail that wags when you walk in. You feed it from a bottle. You let it sleep on your bed. You name it something gentle, like Luna or Shadow. For a few months, it really does feel like a dog. And then, slowly, something starts to shift. The eyes hold your gaze a little too long. The play gets a little too rough. The silence in the room feels heavier than before. Because a wolf is not a dog in a costume. A wolf is a wolf, even when it's raised on your couch. So what actually happens, biologically and emotionally, when you try to raise a wolf like a house dog? Not in fairy tales. Not what they factually think you are. In reality, that is the question scientists, sanctuaries, and a surprising number of regretful owners have been answering for decades. And the answer is stranger, sadder, and more beautiful than most people expect. To understand it, you have to start with one uncomfortable truth. Dogs are not tame wolves. Dogs are a separate species shaped over tens of thousands of years to live with us. Their brains, their hormones, their faces, even the muscles around their eyes, have been quietly rewritten by human company. A wolf raised in your living room is not running that same software. It is wild hardware trying to load a domestic operating system that was never written for it. In the 1970s, a Harvard researcher named Eric Klinghammer began raising wolf pups by hand at a place called Wolf Park in Indiana. He wanted to know what wolves were really like when they trusted humans completely. His team bottle-fed the pups around the clock. They slept beside them. They carried them everywhere for the first critical weeks of life. And what they discovered changed how scientists understood the line between wild and tame. The pups bonded deeply, but never the way a puppy bonds. A dog looks to you for answers. A hand-raised wolf looks to you for company, then decides for itself. That single difference reshapes everything that follows. In the first 8 weeks, a wolf pup raised by humans behaves almost exactly like a husky puppy. It tumbles, it nips, it falls asleep on your foot. It learns its name. It comes when called, sometimes. It melts hearts in every photo. This is a window where the internet falls in love. This is also the window that lies. Because around 4 months old, the wolf brain begins a transformation that no amount of love can pause. Hormones rise. Senses sharpen. The instinct to test rank, to claim space, to hunt small moving things, starts to wake up. A puppy might chew your shoe. A wolf pup might drag your couch across the room. A puppy barks at the mailman. A wolf pup goes silent, lowers its head, and watches. Wolves rarely bark like dogs do, because in the wild, barking gives away your position. Instead, they whine, howl, huff, and stare. That stare is the first thing new owners notice changing. It is calm, it is steady, and it is reading you constantly. By 6 months, the cute phase is over. The animal in your home now weighs 60 to 90 pounds. Its jaw can generate more than twice the bite force of a German Shepherd. It can leap a 6-foot fence from a standstill. It can open standard door handles, often on the first try. And it needs on average the equivalent of 10 to 15 miles of movement a day. A house, no matter how big, becomes a cage. This is when the stories start to fracture into 2 very different paths. In the first path, the owner tries to keep going. They reinforce fences. They add locks high on every door. They stop inviting friends over. They watch their wolf grow restless, bored, then frustrated. A bored wolf does not destroy a pillow. A bored wolf rearranges your house. Drywall comes off in sheets. Doors are chewed down to the frame. Couches are excavated to the wooden bones. It is not anger. It is a brain built for problem solving with nothing left to solve. In the second path, the human listens to the animal instead of fighting it. They build huge outdoor enclosures. They partner with sanctuaries. They accept that this creature will never be a pet, only a companion they share space with. And in that quieter path, something remarkable becomes visible. Hand-raised wolves form bonds that are unlike anything in the dog world. They do not obey, but they choose you. They greet trusted humans with a full-body wiggle, a soft whine, and a careful mouthing of the hands. They remember individual people for years, even after long absences. They mourn. They celebrate. They protest when you leave. Researchers at the Wolf Science Center in Austria have spent years comparing wolves and dogs raised under identical conditions. The results quietly upended a lot of old assumptions. Wolves, it turns out, are often better at cooperation than dogs. In teen puzzles, two wolves will work together patiently to pull ropes in sync for a shared reward. Dogs, in the same test, often give up or wait for a human to solve it. Wolves also follow each other's gaze more carefully. They notice when a partner is being treated unfairly and refuse to participate. In some experiments, they outperform dogs at logical problem solving. But on one test, dogs win every single time. When the puzzle becomes impossible, dogs turn and look at the human for help. Wolves keep working, alone. That one tiny gesture, that glance over the shoulder, is the fingerprint of domestication. It is the moment a wild animal became a teammate. And it is exactly what a hand-raised wolf, no matter how loved, almost never learns to do. Quick pause, because this is the part I always wonder about. If you have ever locked eyes with a dog and felt it was actually asking you something, drop a comment and tell me about that moment. I read them, and they shape future videos like this one. Now, back to the wolves. Even the gentlest hand-raised wolf carries instincts that can turn a normal afternoon dangerous. A child running. A small dog yelping. A guest who moves too suddenly toward the food bowl. To a wolf, these are not social mistakes. They are signals from a much older script. This is why every reputable expert says the same thing. A wolf is not a pet. Not like a thing to mascotes, not practically anywhere. Even wolf dogs, hybrids that share some dog ancestry, fill rescue shelters by the thousands every year in the United States alone. Most are surrendered between 18 months and 3 years old. That is the exact moment the wild brain finishes overriding the puppy face. Sanctuaries call it the heartbreak window. The owner loves the animal. The animal loves the owner. And yet the situation has become impossible for both of them. Some of these wolves spend the rest of their lives behind chain link, watching the human they imprinted on visit a few times a week. They are not abused. They are simply trapped between two worlds belonging fully to neither. And here's where the story becomes quietly philosophical, because the wolves are showing us something about ourselves. For roughly 30,000 years, we have been shaping a creature to fit our lives. Softer faces, floppier ears, curlier tails, brains that read our pointing fingers, our smiles, our half-spoken commands. We bred an animal that needs us. And in return, we became an animal that needs it. A hand-raised wolf reveals the gap between those two species in the clearest possible way. It loves you, but it does not depend on you. It trusts you, but it does not defer to you. It looks at you the way an equal looks at an equal, not the way a friend looks at a leader. Owners often describe the feeling as humbling. You realize you are not the center of this animal's universe. You are simply a respected member of its pack. And the pack, in a wolf's mind, is a circle of free beings, not a hierarchy of pets and masters. There is a quiet lesson in that, if you let it land. We have spent so long teaching dogs to look up at us that we forgot what it feels like to be looked across at. A wolf in your living room reintroduces you to that older, wilder kind of relationship. It is not better. It is not worse. It is simply more honest about what it costs. So what actually happens when you raise a wolf like a house dog? For a few months, you get a dream. For a few years, you get a war between wild instinct and human walls. And if you are wise and lucky and well supported, you eventually get a friendship that no dog could ever quite match, lived out on the wolf's terms, in a space built for what it really is. Most people who try it walk away saying the same thing. They would never do it again. And they would never trade what it taught them. because somewhere along the way, the question stopped being, can I tame this animal? The question became, what part of me is still wild enough to understand it? If this story made you see wolves or your own dog a little differently, a quick like genuinely helps this channel reach more curious minds. If you want more stories like this, the kind that quietly change how you look at the animals around you, consider subscribing so the next one finds you. I would love to know in the comments, would you ever want to meet a hand-raised wolf in person, or does the idea make you a little uneasy? There is no wrong answer, and the conversation in those comments is honestly half the fun. In the next video, we are going deeper into the dog side of the story. We will ask what actually happened inside the brain of the first wolf that chose to sit by a human campfire. Because that single moment, somewhere in the dark of prehistory, is the reason any of this is even a question. Until then, keep wondering about the minds behind the eyes watching you back.